So today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 rides and attractions at the Magic Kingdom. So my video last week was about the experiences at Magic Kingdom. That video, if you haven't watched it, I will leave the link down below for you guys. That video was more about the random experiences, if you will, different shows, different things to do at the Magic Kingdom that doesn't necessarily have a wait time. This video is more about the rides and attractions and things that will have a wait time. My top 10 is probably going to be a little bit different than what you're used to seeing. A lot of top 10s have all of the thrill rides and stuff like that. While I do like all of the thrill rides and, all of those kind of things at Magic Kingdom, this particular list is more my top 10 list, the things that I find the most important to me, the things that I find myself on vacations riding again and again, and maybe even quoting different lines from. So these are more of the things that, for me personally, would be my top 10. So with that, let's get started. Number 10, Mad Tea Party, also known as the Teacups. I love this ride. I have to ride this at least once, if not multiple times on a trip. Some people can't handle spinny rides. I personally love them. There's something about this ride that just gets me giddy. I get really, really excited and giddy every time we ride it. I love the music that's played, just everything about it. I love this ride. If you can handle spinny rides, this is a very classic Disney ride. Definitely check this one out. Number 9, Philharmoniker. This is a 3D, well, actually 4D movie. You have the 3D glasses that you wear, and there are a few effects, which is why it's called 4D. You might get a little bit of water or a smell or something like that, so that's kind of why it's referenced as 4D. But anyways, it is a 3D film that takes you on a little adventure of some of the popular Disney movies, and there's some really cool scenes and everything in there. Definitely a must-do. I love this show. I absolutely love this show. And a little tip for you guys. One of the scenes is Aladdin. I don't really want to spoil the scene if you haven't, done this before. But I suggest, because of that scene in particular, sit at least in the middle of the theater, if not towards the back. It is kind of a different experience, and in my opinion, a little bit better experience for that particular scene if you are sitting a little bit further back as opposed to the front. If you are sitting in the front, you really don't get the full effect, at least in that scene. So definitely check that out. Number 8, the Jungle Cruise. If you love like slapstick kind of silly joke comedy, definitely ride Jungle Cruise. This ride's a lot of fun. You go kind of on an excursion cruise, and there's a skipper that is kind of your tour guide, and the skipper tells these really cheesy kind of lame jokes, and it's just hysterical. I love the jokes. You go kind of through the jungle, and there's different animatronic animals and stuff like that you encounter, and Chad and I quote the jokes and stuff from this quite frequently. We absolutely love it. We love going on it in the evening. Something about going on it at night, it kind of takes on a different effect, and we prefer to go on it in the evening, but it's really good at any time of the day. And actually around Christmas time, the past few years they've done this, they kind of switch it over to the Jingle Cruise, and the jokes are all about like Christmas and holiday themed jokes as opposed to their regular jokes. And some of the decor that they add to it gives it kind of that holiday feel. That's a lot of fun as well. So definitely make sure that you check out the Jungle Cruise. Number 7, Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover. I love this ride. It's just such a simple ride, and honestly, I didn't realize how much I loved this ride until one of our trips. This ride was on refurbishment, and we couldn't ride it on our trip, and I really realized how much that I love this ride. So definitely check it out. Essentially, it's a tram ride of sorts. There's a little audio track that plays as you're kind of going around Tomorrowland, and it kind of gives you a little tour just of Tomorrowland. It's very relaxing. You will pass, like the Tomorrowland Speedway, and you kind of overlook into part of the Buzz ride, and you go through a section of Space Mountain. If you want to just kind of kick back and relax for a bit, go on this ride. You'll be glad you did. Number 6, Carousel Progress. Walt Disney created this attraction for the 1964 World's Fair, and this is a really, really cool attraction. It's a stage show, but not your typical stage show. It is a rotating theater, so the room that you are in actually rotates around the different scenes that you will be seeing throughout the show. And the different scenes are set up with animatronic. You will be following a family throughout different eras. Basically, you get to see the different technological advances throughout the years and the different things that families could essentially do in a certain era that they weren't able to do before. It really makes you think and kind of appreciate the things that you have today and what people before you really didn't have. It's a really cool ride. So it is air conditioned, so it is kind of nice to kind of relax for a bit and watch this in the nice cool air conditioning. So this is something that we do a lot on our trips. We absolutely love it. This is another one of the things that we quote. We quote some of the different scenes, and there's a song that plays. We quote that a lot. So definitely make sure you check this one out. It's a really neat concept. We really enjoy this. Number 5, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. I am a huge Winnie the Pooh fan. I absolutely love Winnie the Pooh. He was one of the very first characters that I really latched onto as a kid, if you will. So I have a lot of Winnie the Pooh stuff from over the years. It is your typical kind of dark ride. You're in a honey pot vehicle, and you go basically through the story of Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day. And there's different animatronics of all of the characters as you're going through the scene and everything. It's a kind of a shorter ride, but I absolutely love it because I do love Winnie the Pooh. If you have kids, this is a big favorite with kids as well. In the line, there actually is kind of a kids play area. So even if you don't want to ride it, I guess you could, go in and play a little bit in the play area and leave if you didn't want to get into line, because it's kind of off to the side. But I absolutely love this ride. This was my second ride, I believe, ever at Walt Disney World. So between the fact that I love Winnie the Pooh and it was one of my very first rides at Walt Disney World, this will always hold a special place in my heart. Number 4, Big Thunder Mountain. This is a great, great coaster. If you have a problem with big hills or anything like that, you don't have to worry. This ride will whip you around quite a bit. It's very bumpy and jerky as far as that goes, but there's no real big steep hills. So if you do have a problem with that, you don't really have to worry on this ride. It's just a good, fun, solid coaster. Definitely check this out. Number 3, The Haunted Mansion. This is such a classic Disney ride. We do ride this several times throughout our trips, and I absolutely love it. You go into the stretching room. That's kind of the pre-show to this ride. That is a really cool effect. And then you are taken to where the doom buggies are, and you get in this little ride vehicle that's called a doom buggy, and it takes you through the Haunted Mansion into all of these different scenes. It's just really, really cool. If you do have a problem with haunted houses and you're a little bit scared to go on this, I will tell you that I do have a problem with haunted houses and I love this ride. I think it makes me feel a little bit more secure, if you will, because I am in the ride vehicle going through. So I guess if you do have a problem with haunted houses, but you still kind of want to ride this, just kind of go on the air of caution and, try it out. I definitely recommend trying it out. It's a worthwhile ride. Absolutely love it. Number 2, Splash Mountain. Awesome ride. I absolutely positively love this ride. Now this is Chad's absolute favorite ride at Magic Kingdom. For me, I do have it listed as number 2, but it is a great solid ride. Most people know at least the big drop of Splash Mountain. If you really are not familiar with this ride, it's a log ride that takes you through different scenes of Brer Rabbit and Brer Fox and the characters from, Song of the South, and you go through all of these little scenes, and yes, you do have the drop. There are a few different drops on this ride, so I guess beware of that. Most of them are smaller. the big drop that everybody knows, the, outdoor drop. It's definitely not as bad as it looks from the outside. This is a really, really fun ride. I love the music. The animatronics in this are great. I really love the story. I was scared to death the first time I rode it. Actually, the first few times I rode it, I was a little bit scared of the hill. I do have to admit that. But I do love this ride, and I ride it again and again and again. This is one of the rides that we ride so many times on our vacation. Definitely make sure you don't miss this one. Alright, time for my number 1, Pirates of the Caribbean. I absolutely love this ride. This is one of the most classic Disney rides. I'm a huge Pirates of the Caribbean fan. I started with the movies before I actually went to Disney. Huge Pirates fan. Love Captain Jack Sparrow, and he is in this ride if you have not ridden it before and don't know much about it. You go through these different scenes where there's different pirates and stuff like that. And the movies were actually based on the ride itself. And then the cool thing is the movies actually then inspired the ride to do some changes. Captain Jack Sparrow was not originally in this ride, but since the popularity of the movies and the popularity of that character, they've since brought in some of the different things like that into the ride and kind of, changed the ride a bit. But it's still that classic, awesome Pirates ride. This was my very first ride at Walt Disney World, so for that I will always have, a special place. We try to make this a tradition to ride this, our very first ride, every single trip. So far, we've been able to keep that tradition going with all of the trips we've been on. This is always our first ride. So, this does have a special place in my heart, and even though this might not be the most popular, thrilling ride at the Magic Kingdom, it is my number 1 because I just love it so much. I love the pirates, I love Captain Jack Sparrow, and it was my first ride at Disney. Definitely a ride you have to make sure you check out. Now, I did want to do an honorable mention for you guys. I had a really hard time coming up with this list because there's so many great rides and attractions at Magic Kingdom, and I really did have a hard time with this list. I wrote down a ton of rides, and then I had to keep scratching things off because I realized I had too many. So there is an honorable mention that I did want to make sure that I told you guys, and that's It's a Small World. This is just the absolute classic of classics when it comes to Disney rides. I know the song gets kind of annoying. Everybody, always says, oh no, I can't, ride that. That song just drives me nuts. Well, I gotta say, I love this ride. We do generally only ride it once per trip because, yeah, the song. But, I love it. I love just the scenes. They're so bright and colorful, and there's so much glitter and everything. I do. I love this ride. It's really nostalgic. I absolutely love everything about this ride. Even though I do only ride it just generally once on my trips, I have to make sure that I ride it, and if it were to be down on a trip, I would be sad. I do love this ride, and it's so classic, and you have to make sure that you do ride it on your trips. Alright guys, well that was my top 10 rides and attractions. I hope you enjoyed this video, and maybe this inspired you to ride something that maybe you didn't really think about before. If you do have any questions or comments for me, as always, make sure to leave them down below for me and hit subscribe. New videos to come soon. See you later, guys.